Hey guys, if you didn't get to join me this morning, we were talking about Matthew 14 and Jesus feeding the 5,000. So we're going to go into that story, but I wanted to give you some background before we started this story. So prior to this, Jesus and his disciples had been in the cities and they had been healing and teaching, and they needed some downtime. They needed to get away and refresh. And so they get in a boat and they're going to a deserted place, but it says that the people saw Jesus leaving and getting in the boat, and they knew where he were headed, so they dropped what they were doing and ran to meet him and to meet him there and to wait for him. So it says all the people came out of the cities and they went to this deserted place, and then when Jesus rode up in this boat with his disciples, there they were, and he had compassion on them, and he started healing and teaching again. And it says the day went on and it started getting late, and I don't know who found this out or why, but I guess that people started saying they were hungry, or maybe the disciples were hungry. So they tell Jesus, hey Jesus, you need to send these people away. They need to go to the cities and buy their own food and find somewhere to sleep for the night, because we're in a deserted place and we don't have anything to give them. And if we did go buy them bread, it would cost a lot of money. So you need to send them away. And Jesus says, no, don't send them away. Go find out how much food we have here. And so there was one little boy who had thought, or maybe he was skipping school, I don't know. So there was one little boy with 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. And it says, and if you read the story later, that there were about 5,000 men there, plus women and children. So Jesus says, bring me the food. And he got the bread and the fish and he blessed it. And then he broke it and he started giving it to the disciples to pass out. So the bread kept coming and coming and coming. It hit me in the face, and the bread kept coming. And it says that he got them to sit down in groups of 50, and that the disciples started passing out the bread, and that they started eating. I don't want to lose an eyeball by bread. That would be great. And so it said that they kept passing the bread and passing out, and everybody sat and they ate their fill until everybody was full and they had nothing. Well, nobody was wanting for food because they were too far to go to a restaurant or a drive-through, and when they didn't have cars anyway. So they ate barley loaves and fish, and as they were eating it, disciples, I guess the disciples were eating too. I really think it's the disciples that were hungry, not the people. So Jesus has blessed the food. He keeps breaking it. He keeps passing out. The disciples keep passing out in groups of 50 till everybody is fed. And then it says that Jesus tells them, I want you to go get all the leftovers, and because we don't want anything to be lost. So you go get the leftovers, and we'll just, I don't know why he wanted leftovers, but there's probably a hidden meaning about nothing being lost, which is probably the case. So he tells them, I want you to go gather up all the leftovers and bring them back to me. And so the disciples go out and they start gathering up all the leftover bread and fish that were left over from the people eating. And it says that when they came back, that each disciple, I'm assuming all 12 disciples were there, but it says that each disciple came back with baskets full of leftover bread, and that there was 12 full baskets left over of crumbs and of leftover portions of bread and fish. And I'm not sure what they did with it later. Maybe they had it for lunch the next day. But there was a lot of bread, and 5,000 men. I want you to remember there were 5,000 men. That was not counting the disciples and Jesus and the children and the women that were there with them. But it's also important to remember that these people dropped everything they were doing. They left their jobs, taking care of the house, they left school, whatever was happening that day, their crops, painting, sewing, I don't know what they were doing, but they left and dropped everything when they found out Jesus was leaving, because they wanted to go hear his word. They weren't hungry for physical bread, they were hungry for spiritual bread. And they left because they wanted Jesus' word and they wanted healed, because that's where our healing and where our bread of life comes from. So I don't know if you can see me anymore because I have so much bread on me, but they weren't hungry for this. This was just temporary. They were hungry for Jesus' word and for the word of God. And in the Bible, it tells us, Jesus, right before he started his, let me get some of this bread off me. When Jesus started his ministry, when he was tempted in the desert and the devil tempted him, he quoted a scripture from Deuteronomy 8:3 that says, we do not live by bread alone, but by the word of God. And then later in John 6, he quotes Isaiah 55:2 that says this. It says, why do you spend money for what is not bread and your wages for what does not satisfy? Listen carefully to me and eat what is good, and let your soul delight itself in abundance. Incline your ear and come to me. Hear, and your soul shall live, and I will make an everlasting covenant with you. I really encourage you to go read John 6. All four of the Gospels have this story in it, and each one reveals a little bit different part of the story. But they're all consistent with that only one boy brought a lunch, and that the disciples wanted them to send him away, but Jesus wanted to feed them. But he wasn't talking about bread. He was talking about the bread of life. And John 6, it actually goes into great detail about what he was talking about. He says later, after they leave, he goes and he tells the disciples exactly what he's talking about. He said, I am the bread of life. And if you do not eat from me, then you cannot be saved, because I am the bread of life. And God sent me down for you to hear my word and to be the bread of life. And you can only be saved through that method. And that you have to have the bread of life to sustain you, not just physical bread. He said, this goes away. It doesn't last. You eat it, it's gone, it spoils. It doesn't last. You want to eat from the bread of life, my word. And God has given us people in our lives, our preachers, our teachers, our Sunday school teachers, our evangelists, our missionaries. He's given us the Bible. He has given us the Word of God, and we should be excited to go and hear the Word of God, because He prepares your Sunday school teachers and your pastors and the preachers to give you the Word. It's a word that we need to hear, and we should be dropping everything to go hear it and excited to hear it. And now we have the great convenience of being able to listen to it online, but there's something about going together with other believers. And it says that all the cities left and ran after Jesus to hear his word and to be healed. So I want to remember, in today's age, it's very different. We're all staying home. But in other countries, there are still in other countries people who walk for days and drop everything to go hear when they know that there's a missionary or an evangelist there to share the word of God. So we're privileged that we live in a day and age where we can get it online, but it does not beat going in person and hearing it in person and gathering with other believers to get the word. But you can read your Bible at home, and you have unlimited online resources now to get the word of God. But remember to dig into the word of God, because that is your spiritual bread, and that is the bread of life. And that we have the opportunity in America to go and hear the word and to eat the word of life. But I love you guys, and I hope I see y'all again soon.